Hi everyone, Tom Dix here with your June Medway Property Market update. If you're thinking about buying, selling or simply keeping an eye on what's happening in the local property market, here's my June 2026 Medway Property Market update. And there's one headline that really stands out this month. There are now 2,293 properties available for sale across Medway, which is the highest number we've seen so far in 2026 and one of the highest levels we've seen for quite some time. Now, before sellers start to panic, that's not necessarily bad news. Properties are still selling. In fact, during May, 373 homes were sold subject to contracts, which was actually 22 more than in April. However, what it does mean is that buyers have more choice than they've ever had for several years, and that's creating a more competitive market for sellers. We also saw 590 new properties come to the market during May, which was 15 more than April and 54 more than the same month last year. So more homes are coming onto the market, more homes are competing for buyers' attention, and that means pricing correctly has never been more important. One statistic that really caught my eye this month was that 309 properties reduced their asking price during May. Whilst that's actually down from March and April, it's still a significant number of reinforcing what I'm seeing day to day on the ground. The properties that are generating the most interest are generally the ones that are priced correctly from day one. The properties that launch too high are often sitting on the market for longer and eventually having to reduce their asking price. Nationally, Rightmove is reporting that the average asking price of a property coming to the market increased by 1.2% during May, bringing the average UK asking price to just over £378,000. What's particularly interesting is that despite ongoing economic uncertainty and higher mortgage rates than we've become used to, the housing market remains surprisingly resilient. Sales agreed nationally are only 4% lower than last year and are actually 2% higher than the same period in 2024. Another positive piece of news for buyers is mortgage rates. According to Rightmove, the average 2-year fixed mortgage rate has fallen from 5.42% to 5.18% over the last month. Now, that might not sound like a huge drop, but every little helps when it comes to affordability and monthly repayments. Zoopla is painting a similar picture. They report that sales agreed are actually running 1% ahead of last year, despite buyer demand being around 10% lower. What that tells us there is that whilst fewer people may be browsing property portals, the buyers who are actively looking are serious and committed to moving. Savills describes the current market as cautious but resilient, and I think that's a pretty accurate summary. People are still moving, life events are still happening, families are still upsizing and people are still downsizing, and first-time buyers are still entering the market. They're just taking a little longer to make decisions and doing a little more research before committing. So what does all of that mean if you're thinking about selling your home in Medway? Well, the market is still moving, but buyers do have more choice than they did a year ago. That means presentation, marketing and pricing are absolutely crucial. The days of putting a property on the market at an ambitious price and expecting buyers to queue around the block are largely behind us. The sellers achieving the best results right now are the ones who are realistic, well prepared and working with an agent who knows how to negotiate. And if you're a buyer, it's actually a pretty good time. You've got more choice, slightly improved mortgage rates and more opportunities to negotiate than we've seen for quite some time. My overall view is the Medway market remains healthy. It's more competitive, certainly, but well-priced homes are still attracting strong interest and achieving successful sales. If you'd like to know what your home is worth in today's market, or you'd like some honest advice about your next move, I'll be more than happy to help. I'm Tom Dix, your local independent estate agent. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in next month's Medway Property Market update.